Welcome back to Lake Lot Build. I'm not standing in the lake house today, so you're probably wondering, well, John, this doesn't look like a house that is on the lake. And it's not. It's actually one of my neighbor's house. And they have got themselves in a little bit of a predicament here. So they wanted this fireplace tile to be completed, and they hired a tile installer, and he started the first day. And that's the farthest that he made it. So this is going to be a bonus episode for everybody. The tile is, we'll go over it real quick. These are the pieces here. They look like this. And so they go on the wall like this. There we go. And then go on the wall just like that. So we're going to have to cut and go around the fireplace, of course. And you can see there's a lip right here. So we'll cut and try to make it nice and tight and go from there. Now, there's the corners of that for this particular product are 3 times as expensive as the field. And so the original or the previous installer was cutting 45s on them, and so you can see that there's a gap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up a little bit of grout or maybe the caulking that has a sanded caulking, and we'll fill those in as well as I can do, and to make that look like an outside corner. So that is what the work that I have cut out for me over the next few days. And there's a lip over the top here. The starter, because it is gas but it has an electric starter, is a switch that's over here. And so there's the faceplate right there. So we'll put the faceplate on it and go around it and make it look as pretty as possible. So let's go check out the setup, and I will show you the saw that I'm using, and we'll get to work because we got a lot of work to do. I have literally just set up my crappy little table that I bought about 5 or 6 years ago, but it works so well. And this is my tile saw that I'm using. It's a Chicago Electric from Harbor Freight. I know you guys wouldn't have guessed it, but this thing works really, really well. It's super, super powerful. And it also it has the slide back and forth this way, but it also has the release so that this thing comes up and down. And also has the 45 on the back of it, so the whole saw will rotate, and that is what I need to make those 45-degree cuts. So I have not cut marble in a 45 with a bevel edge, so this will be new for me. And there's also this guy that goes on here that will allow you to do straight cuts and angle cuts as well. So this is an industrial tile and brick saw. It's a 2.5 horsepower. It is a water, squirts the water on it, so I can turn it on for you real quick. It's going to be loud, so I'll have to turn the volume down. Okay. Now, usually what we'll do is you mix up a thin set mortar, but for this one, because it's not in a wet space and it is a wall, I'm going to use this type 1 adhesive here. Comes in a bucket, this has a gasket in it so that you can close it up and reuse it. It has a long shelf life on it, and so I can, hopefully, this is supposed to cover about 100 square feet. We're going to need to do about 75 or so. And so hopefully those should be enough in this bucket that I can use in there. The nice thing is this is white. And so the white will allow me to, when I put all those pieces, and if I have some little cracks, I can kind of butter them in there, kind of fill in the cracks with the whiteness so that you don't see the darkness in between each one of those pieces of marble. check this out. So that's my mark there. I took the mark straight, and then I put the mark on the back side to make sure that I'm running square to this piece there, and then that one there. So that tells me we're running true and straight, and that's a good cut. That is a perfect cut. All right, let's go see how it fits. Okay, so that compared to that. Oh my gosh, that looks so much better. Okay, so I think this is going to work out. Now it's time for me to start another row. Okay, here's a little progress. So I stopped to take a break for just a second. I have made it around the fireplace, and now I wanted to make sure, was I running level? Oh yeah, love it. So I'm gonna have to work on the corner here, so I've gotten to where I'm at the switch, so that's gonna slow way down. But for the most part, it is, it's not real fast, but it is going consistent. So onward and upward we go. We are now on day 2, so I have made it over halfway, and this morning's work is going to be around here on the side. So let's take a look here. So what we have is the controller for the gas fireplace right there. And so what I've started to do was my notching to go around it. And then what I'll do after that is I'll put a bead of caulk around that so that it looks nice and tight. And I was looking, and I moved these ever so slightly yesterday, and I forgot to go back and put the grout, not the grout, but the mortar back in there after I moved it. So I got to go back and fill that in. You could see that little section right there, because I was sitting and I noticed that it had just a little bit of cantilever down that way. So I had to bring it back up and open that up. So we'll fix that. But today, well, this morning, I'll work this edge here up to that level right there. And then from that level, then I will start the last rows. So it looks like there's probably, what do you think, 4, maybe 5 rows, and then we'll have some more hard pieces up here, which is the coping against the wood right there. So we're going to try my best to cope that into the back of that. So I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe it's 4 or 5. I think 4 rows, and we'll get back started. What I did for the surround was I left it a little bit, this full row here was just a little bit short. And so instead of trying to cut these little pieces of the marble to fit in there, I'm just going to grout that and go from there out. So make kind of a bevel And so I decided, well, let's do that around the edge too. So what we'll have is a grouted around the surround. I am down to the final row. So now each piece of tile has to be cut as I go along. And we're gonna work on this little section right here. Let's see if I can get myself situated without falling off. So this is a piece of tile that would, see how it fits. Oh, we're close. Okay, so it looks like I need a little bit right there. And that should let me slide in. So it looks like my radius is just a little bit off. But overall, gap on everything else looks correct. I have to go cut that radius a little bit. But so this is where the things have to be nice and tight and perfect, because your eye is going to see that line on the ceiling, right? It's naturally going to draw up, and when you look at it, and if you got a big gap running, either you're going to have to fill it or do something else. But I'm going to try to cut each piece of tile just in case I have any sort of rise or fall. I used my level on each row to make sure that I was running, one, horizontal, but two, I didn't have any dips or valleys. So we'll see how this turns out. I think I can live with that. I think it looks really good. Some of you guys are probably, and gals, are probably going to ask, well, why did I just cut the wood back, dive that into it? That is definitely one way to do it. But you guys have to remember, all my tools are down at my house. So I literally loaded up just enough tools to take care of my friends here. So I'm going to do it with the tools that I brought, right? So I think that's going to look pretty good. I had to shave just a little bit off the top, and I measured, and it looks like it's running pretty true. But yeah, okay, let's keep on rolling. We're on the morning of day 3. I estimated that it was going to take 3 days. I could have probably stayed here late last night to do the grout around this, but you know, grouting takes extra time because you got to let it dry and use the sponge and everything. So I thought, well, let's start this morning and then I would just work till noon or so, and we'll keep working it. So, but in the meantime, before I get started, I wanted to show you what it looks like. So let me back it up here. Hopefully everything's in focus. It looks like the sun is just coming over the horizon. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Looks so good. So I will show you what I'm going to work on. So if you guys remember me talking about this little area that's around here, right there. And I didn't want to put caulking in there because I don't know how hot this whole thing will get with the gas going. And so we're going to use grout. And I usually don't put grout around on the edge between the different materials because you don't want it to crack. But with this heat, I'm not quite sure if caulking was going to be the right choice. I don't know how stable caulking is after it's cured when subjected to that kind of heat. So there's the grout. I'll go out to the driveway and get it all mixed up, and we'll see how it goes. She is finally finished. I have a little brace in there on that one side that still wants to droop. I don't know if it's going to come loose. I don't know if that grout's going to adhere to it or not. So maybe I'll have to get some glue, pull it down, and squeeze it. I could not get the tape to stick to that marble at all. But overall, besides that one little spot, this turned out beautiful. Beautiful. Get back up here. so that you guys can see. So the carpet people will come in and re-stretch, but I think they might even get new carpet. I don't know, but that is, my work is complete here. And now I get to head back down to the lake and start working down there. So these are the two bosses.
Yes, bosses right here.
So walk us through a little bit. You decided to have this fireplace to redo it. And then what happened with the previous installer?
Yes, I hired a tile guy to come do it, and when he started stacking the rock, he didn't even cut it, he didn't fit it together, he just started stacking it, and there was big gaps everywhere, they weren't fitting together, and I just stopped him because, you know, I wanted it to look good. So I stopped him and said, you know, there's big gaps here. And so he just got all huffy and mad and said, well, I think you're just asking too much, and just didn't think it was possible. He said it was just going to take too much time. So the next morning I thought he was coming back and he didn't show up. So that was that. Yeah. So
and you called him and he was like, yeah, I'm not coming back.
Yes. I called him and said, hey, you're an hour and a half late. Are you coming? He said, no, I'm not. I knew it. When I said, Kevin, we really need John to do this. And he said, well, if you want it perfect, have him come over. So
Yep.
So yes, and I love it. There's no gaps. It's just exactly what I envisioned.
Well, wonderful. Well, Leslie, why don't you take us out, and we'll say goodbye to everybody.
Thanks, everybody, for watching our special bonus issue of Lake Lot Build. Be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you later. Bye.